In this video, we are going to complete our kinetic type animation by putting in the last two words. I'll try to do this a little bit more quickly because these steps are mostly similar to what we've already done. However, this fourth word, camera, is going to come in a slightly different way. It's going to use two animated properties. It is both going to scale up and rotate. And finally, we are going to add a follow-through effect using the Excite button in the Motion 2 panel. So because we're animating two properties, let's reveal those two in our Layers panel. The first property, like the previous word, is going to be the Scale property. So I'm going to press S on my keyboard to reveal the Scale property. But I also want to animate the Rotation property. That means I'm going to reveal that property as well by holding down the Shift button and then R for rotation. Now I have both of those properties displaying. Again, on my timeline, this word is where I want it to be at this point in time, but I need to give it some time to get there. So I'm going to expand its layer indicator a few frames like that. I'm going to create keyframes for both of these properties at this point, and then I'm going to move my current time indicator back along my timeline to about this point here, as the previous word is just about to exit the screen. And I'm going to change my scale to 0% and press return. And at this point, I'm also going to change the rotation value. What I'd like to have happen is the word to rotate onto screen. These numbers here show us the degree of rotation, but the first number is the number of complete rotations. I'm going to click here and type in 1. Again, I'm going to reposition my current time indicator, press my spacebar.
Camera.
I'm going to go with that. The next thing I need to do, however, is add some easing to this animation because, as you can see, we're still using linear keyframes. I'm going to select all 4 of those keyframes for both of those properties. And as I said, I would like there to be some follow-through, which means that the animation should be moving fairly quickly at the end. This first value is our ease in slider, which means slow at the beginning, fast at the end. Again, I'm going to drag that to 100%. Let's see what that looks like.
Camera.
You can see how that has changed. It starts off slowly,
Camera.
and then quickly goes from here to into its final resting spot very quickly. Let's add the follow-through. And again, we add the follow-through effect or the Excite effect to individual keyframes. I'm going to click on this rotation keyframe, and I'm going to click the Excite button once. Again, I'm going to reposition my current time indicator back and press my spacebar.
Camera.
So now I have a fair bit of rotation follow-through. But again, similar to the first word that we animated, I think there's too much bounce or too much rotation going on here. With that keyframe still selected, come over to our Effects Controls panel. And if you don't see it, you can come to the Window drop-down menu and select Effect Controls. And again, remember, we have these 3 sliders. The first one is overshoot, which means the amount of overshoot that it's currently doing. I'm going to reduce that down to 10. I'm also going to reduce the number of bounces from 40 down to 10 as well. Let me just test that.
Camera.
Then that's not bad. For my particular tastes, I love adding these follow-through effects, but it's a good idea to add it with a little bit of restraint.
Camera.
I'm happy with the way that is working. So again, we've managed to have this word enter. We now have to have it exit, but I have this word exit in a slightly different way. The word TV comes in and knocks camera out of the way. Again, that's fairly simple to do. It just means that we are going to have 2 elements on our screen animating at the same time. Again, I'm going to reposition my current time indicator at the beginning of the next word. I want to think about the property that's going to be animated. In this case, it's just the position property. So again, I'm going to press P on my keyboard to reveal that position property. My word is exactly where I want it to be at this point in time. So let's create a keyframe for that position property. I want to give my word a little bit of time to get into that position. So I'm going to click on its layer indicator and drag that to the left. And again, I'm just going to move a certain distance along my timeline. I'm not being too specific here. You can see everything is usually about 10 frames back. That seems to be about the right point at which I'm going to change that position property. Again, I can do that in a couple different ways. I could click on it and drag it straight down like this. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. You can see the linear keyframes there, though. As it comes in, it's coming in with what's called linear interpolation. Again, I'm going to select these two keyframes and add a little bit of easing. What I'm looking for is to have a little bit of easing for the word TV as it comes into its resting spot. Again, that's called an ease out. Using my Motion 2 panel, again, I'm going to drag this slider almost all the way to the left, and I'm going to drag my bottom slider, which is my ease out slider, all the way to the right. And let's reposition my current time indicator and press my space bar just to see what that looks like.
TV.
So what I'd like to have happen is just as the new word comes on and hits the old word, I want that word to change its position property. So right at this point, right where there's contact between these two words, I'm going to come back to the previous word and I'm going to change its position property. Now remember, we've already animated the scale and the rotation. Now we're going to animate the position. I'm going to reveal the position property by pressing P on my keyboard. I'm going to press the stopwatch to create a keyframe in that point in time. And very quickly, I want this word to be off the screen. So I'm going to put my current time indicator a little bit back along my timeline. I'm going to have to extend my layer indicator back in time so that I can see that word. And now I'm just going to take that word camera and move it straight up like that. Now, as far as the easing that I'm going to put on that, I want it to exit really quickly. So that again is going to be an ease out, meaning easing at the end of its animation. So with these two keyframes selected, I'm going to press the ease out slider here once, and that will get that word off the screen very quickly. Let's see what that looks like.
TV.
So it looks as if it's hitting it
TV.
and knocking it out. Let's see what this all looks like together. I'm just going to put my current time indicator back at the beginning, and I'm just going to press
Person,
this.
woman, man, camera, TV.